Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I am Emily Suker. I am a registered dietitian who runs an insurance-based private practice, and now I help other dietitians start and grow their insurance-based private practice. And today I wanted to do a mini training on what the heck an NPI is. So, a National Provider Identification Number is needed if you are going to be accepting insurance. So this is going to be one of the very first things that you have to do if you are planning on accepting insurance in your private practice. So there are two numbers. There's one that is an NPI 1, which is an individual provider identification. And then there's an NPI 2, which is your organization NPI. And I recommend getting both, even if you're just going to be a solo private practice. In the future, if you ever want to scale or grow, you're going to need both. And it is so much easier if you just had started with the NPI 2 and then had you as a provider underneath that with your NPI 1. And so this is a number that is needed for HIPAA compliance, HIPAA purposes, and that's why it's needed. And it's very simple to get. It is free, and it takes about 10 days. And so you're going to be going to nppes.cms.hhs.gov, and you will start a application or intro process. And so I wanted to get you all the information you needed in order to make that process, and I will link that in this details of the notes of this recording. But this is going to be where you go. And you're going to need a few things before you even get there in order to make it seamless flow without having to be like, oh, I needed another number for that. And so what you're going to need, if you are planning on doing an NPI 2, which is that organization identification, you're going to really want to make sure you have your EIN or your TIN. This is the tax identification number. So for your business, you'll most likely have an EIN and you won't be using your social. So if you are like, I just want to hurry and get this done and did just the NPI 1, you could use your social, but I highly recommend getting an EIN for your business and doing the NPI 2 that way. And then you're also going to need a mailing address. And I know a lot of dietitians who are planning on virtual practice, they get held up because they have to either A, use their home address, which could be public knowledge, or they have to have a brick and mortar. So it is kind of this holdup. You can't use a PO box for most insurance-based things. So you can either A, use your home address and try to make it as private as possible on other insurance company sites, or you can get a brick and mortar. Another option here would be to rent a virtual working space that has a place where you can receive mail. Some places even have like rent space for like an hour, but you can also like receive mail there, and you can have that be your address for any insurance purpose. So that is an option. I've had dietitians who prefer that method, but you can always use your home address, and that's okay if you feel comfortable with that. Another thing is you'll need to make sure you have your ID license for your primary state. If you have multiple licenses, you don't necessarily have to list all of them here, just your primary state. And then another thing that when I was first starting, I was like, what is this? What does this mean? So you're going to need a taxonomy code. And this basically, when you're registering for your NPI, will put you down as, okay, I am a dietitian. So you're going to use this code 133VN106X, and you'll just plug that in, and then you'll just submit the application. So you'll have to have some of your like personal information, obviously like your name, things like that. I think you have to put your gender for the individual, but it's pretty simple. You'll just need your tax number, address, your primary RD license number, and your taxonomy code. Everything else you should have probably memorized. You've been through school, you've had a job most likely, so probably have everything else. These are just the things you're going to need for your NPI. So I hope it goes smoothly. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out and I will be happy to answer them.